Mute, and maybe we want to introduce the session and say welcome. It seems good. That's why it's here. No, just welcome. Welcome them and then hand over to him. No, I think you said that he remarks. But now they are trained now. People have already we start that. Yeah, yes, we'll come to what was before I became okay. Hello, good morning all. Welcome to TG2 webinar. We are starting now. On the side of the NBI, we have Dr. Mudassir, who will introduce or give the welcome remarks. And then we have Dr. Kalisti, who will be moderating the webinar. I now hand over to Dr. Mudassir to welcome participants on behalf of the Secretariat. Dr. Mudassir, please.
Thank you. Thank you. To thank also all the panelists and presenters. Just before I start my opening remark, please make sure that you have a good power supply to your laptop or to your PC. And for our participant, please, you can write your question in the Q&A area. It will be answered later. And I would like to remind also our participant that all the PPTs and the presentations and the recording, it will be shared after 12 hours. Welcome all, and thank you very much for coming to this important session. On behalf of the Executive Director of the Nile Basin Initiative Secretariat, Engineer Silvesta Matemo, I would like to thank all the panelists and welcome all the participants to this webinar about legal and institutional framework for transboundary water governance. The Nile Basin Initiative, in collaboration with the government of Uganda, is organizing a series of webinars in the 7th Nile Basin Development Forum. The Science Policy Practice Dialogue is organized to bring together Nile Basin Initiative with its stakeholders from Nile Basin countries and around the world. The theme of this forum is deepening Nile cooperation, accelerating the achievement of SDGs in changing climate. The goal of the 7th Nile Basin Development Forum is to enhance transformation processes in projects that will contribute to the Nile Basin Initiative shared vision, which is to achieve sustainable socioeconomic development through the equitable utilization of and benefit from the common Nile Basin water resources. The theme under this 7th Nile Basin Development Forum are adaptation to climate change, water supply and sanitation, water resources management, basin investment plan, groundwater, water quality, and transboundary water governance. So welcome to this webinar. Let us have a fruitful presentations and discussions, and let us work together to incorporate these findings in our decision-making river basin agenda. Thank you very much. And allow me again to remind you about this important session. It's about legal and institutional framework for transboundary water governance. Thank you, and back to you, Mr. Tom.
Thank you, Dr. Mudassir Zarou, for those welcome remarks. I think now we move to the business session of the webinar, and Dr. Kalisti Namugaya, our moderator, will take over from here.
Thank you very much, Tom. Let me take this opportunity to welcome everybody online and we would like to thank the Nile Basin Initiative for organizing a series of webinars. As has been mentioned, I'm called Dr. Kalisti Ndimugaya. I work for the Ministry of Water and Environment in Uganda. I will be your moderator for this session. As you have been told, we are dealing with transboundary water governance, looking at the legal and institutional framework for transboundary water governance. We have a number of presenters who will take us through this topic. But just to highlight to those of us who are probably not familiar with transboundary water resources management, this is very important for peace, security, economic development, and environmental sustainability for our countries. These resources are shared among countries, and we need to make sure that we have frameworks, legal, institutional, to enable us to cooperate on the development and management of these resources. So our presenters are going to take us through what actually is being done in the region and elsewhere to ensure that we have enabling framework for transboundary water governance. As has been mentioned, we advise and request you to post your questions in the chat, but we shall also have opportunities to actually discuss at the end of the presentations. We have 4 presenters now, and I want to request the presenters to take us through their presentations. If you can do your presentations in maximum 15 minutes so that we get enough time to discuss. So we listen to all the presentations, and then we shall have discussions at the end. Now, I would like to start by inviting Dr. Elias Tedra to give us a presentation on achieving transboundary water cooperation in the Eastern Nile region through thematic capacity development programs. Dr. Elias has more than 16 years of extensive experience in the field of water resources engineering and management, working in academic institutions as a researcher and assistant professor, as well as the water sector as a practitioner with the position of senior advisor and consultant for water resources management and climate change. He received his PhD in water resources engineering and management, MSc in water resources engineering and management, MSc in natural resources and environment, and BSc in agricultural engineering. In addition, he has practical work experience with organizations such as the World Bank, UNDP, UN Habitat, SIWI, Ruenu Foundation, and other national and international organizations. He has developed a career and skills in hydroclimate and water resources systems modeling, integrated water resources management, climate change, and many, many others. So we are privileged to have you, Dr. Elias, talk to us, building on the wealth of experience you have had over the years. Over to you, Dr. Elias, for your presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, the moderator. My name is, as indicated, that my name is Elias. I'm not sure whether the presentation is visible for the audio.
Yes, it
audience.
is visible. Go ahead,
Okay.
It is visible.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm going to present you the topic on the achieving transboundary water cooperation in the Eastern Nile region through thematic capacity development programs, which is one of the main pillars in the legal and institutional frameworks to enhance the transboundary water cooperation is the human capacity development. So I'm going to give you in detail on the program that at Intro we are running. So the contents of the presentation is I will give you some background on the program and what are the program objectives that we are running from here at the Intro, and also the program categories, which are the main categories of the program which we build capacities in the region, and also the program thematic areas that we accept the trainees from the region, especially from the Eastern Nile region, to be trained. And also at the end, I will give you some success highlights that we have so far in the program, and also future plans that we implement at the planning stage. So to give you some background, as you know, Intro is one of the center in the NBI in the Eastern Nile region, mainly focusing on the 4 countries, Egypt, Ethiopia, South Sudan, and Sudan. So based on that, Intro established the internship and young professional program as part of its core activities since 2011. So far, more than 200 interns and young professionals with 23 batches have been enrolled in the program with various teams in the past 12 years. So these programs are with batch. Each batch had 3 months stay at Intro to be trained in different thematic areas of the water resource management, specifically to the transboundary water resource management. So the program was supported so far by the World Bank through the Eastern Nile planning model in the project, and also the Nile Cooperation for Resilience, and currently also supported by the Nile Climate Resilient Project. So these are the specific projects that support this specific thematic capacity development program in the region through 3 major projects. So as an objective that initially, as you know, that the main problem, especially in transboundary cooperation in transboundary water resource management, is to have a trust and also the common understanding about the shared resource of the Nile water resource. So in order to bring that and to solve the historical conflicts among the ideas that the water belongs to a specific area, to be shifting to that concept into the shared understanding of the water resource, we need to build the young generation to have such kind of understanding for future development and also for future negotiation and so forth. So in order to that, we bring to objective for the program. That means to empower young generation from the Eastern Nile Basin countries. So to support, facilitate the emergence of shared understanding about the Nile resource base, which is its potential, the challenges it's facing, and also establish enabling environment for transboundary water cooperation. This is the major objective that we have in the program. The second objective is also to engage young and early career professionals in transboundary dialogue and trust building among relevant Nile Basin stakeholders to enhance cooperation, mitigation risk, and harness opportunities. So having these 2 specific objectives, we have run the program for the last 12 years. And also we were able to accommodate more than 200 young professionals to be trained in this program. So we structured the program, this young professional and internship program, into 4 categories. So the first category is we have the regular internship program. That is, we accept every 3 months with cohort of interns. So with this, we engage early careers to work together on selected water management issues. And also Intro mainly build their capacity through training, allowing them to participate in workshops and knowledge sharing activities. One of the good examples is that in this NBDF 7 also, we allow more than 11 young professional alumni to participate in this very important forum in the region. So the other category is the joint study category, which is mainly we run interns as given the opportunity to work in different institutes in the basin in addition to the NBI centers. That means they are allowed to work in different universities and research centers to collaborate with Intro. So here intensive training and mentoring support by senior level experts at Intro and institutions in the region is given. So the third category is the regular young professional program. So here, most of the time, the young professionals with some experience in advancement are allowed to fill some gaps of Intro with specific tasks. Sometimes we have positions in for some 6 months or some 9 months, 3 months, which require specific skills. So we allow the young professionals to come and join the team in the specific projects to conduct such kind of activities. So here, the young professionals contribute to the development and enhancement of knowledge and analytical skill at Intro. So the fourth and main category also here, the flood management and forecasting team, which is also under the young professional program. So here the periodic engagement of young professionals for the Eastern Nile flood management and forecasting activity they are conducting. So here every year there is a flood season starting from July to September. So we accept the young professionals from the 3 countries, mainly from Sudan, South Sudan, and Ethiopia, to conduct the flood forecasting activities at ENTRO. So this is one of the ENTRO's regional cooperation mechanisms among the Eastern countries. I don't know, some of you may receive also this forecasting bulletin every day during this flood season. So we also allow the young professionals to involve such kind of activities, which is critical to the region in terms of transboundary water resource management. So these are the 4 program categories that we are running, and also we accept young professionals at ENTRO. So there are a number of thematic areas. We are giving interns to get a chance to work on the specific topics and also to have understanding about the global and regional issues in terms of this water resource management, transboundary resource management, and beyond. So these are the main thematic areas that we conduct so far. So the first is on flood and drought management, which we do have also a specific unit that conducting this flood and drought management in the region and in the Nile. So the other is the hydrological and climate analysis and modeling. So the interns and the professionals also, they conduct such kind of advanced studies in hydrological and climate analysis. The other in agriculture and hydropower development. So they assess also the regional development investment options on these specific water use sectors. The other is also environment and sustainability. They conduct in this specific thematic area. The other is water, energy, food ecosystem nexus. They also have created such kind of understanding how these different sectors in water resource management come together and to see the trade-offs among the environment, the agriculture, energy, and specific to the water sector. The other thematic area is on water information management system, how we manage our water resource, starting from monitoring to advanced analysis of the database creation on the water resource management. The other is watershed management, water governance, water diplomacy, and communication. And the other is also remote sensing, spatial modeling, data toolkits, model development and application, dam safety and reservoir management, which is also aligned with one of the major unit in ENTRO that on the dam safety issue. The other is also in groundwater management and climate change. So these are the main thematic areas that we are running the program for the last 12 years. So to give you some success highlights, how we achieve this program, and the program is now currently in the region is very famous, and most young professionals want to engage in the program. So one of the successes is the Eastern Nile hydropolitics, which is the program has played key role in sustaining Eastern Nile countries' engagement and partnership. So in each batch, more than hundreds of applicants are giving their interest to join this program from all the Eastern Nile countries. So this enhances the sustainability of this Eastern Nile engagement in terms of this hydropolitics. So the other is enriching the knowledge base, where the young professionals have been able to bring also to ENTRO a different technical knowledge in the academic traditions that we have currently at the a lot of knowledge creation at the ENTRO, and also we do have these knowledge management centers that we collect all the activities that they have conducted. The other is in terms of this capacity building, where interns and young professionals received training, which is starting from the very soft training to the advanced training, which is more specialized, being given to interns from in-house, from the ENTRO experts, from university, and also from global experts. They come to train the young professionals. The other is also engage the Eastern Nile knowledge institutions, which intro get access also and make use of these regional institutions and their expertise through this program. So we do have a lot of networking in universities and research to conduct this program. The other also success is that increased visibility of intro. This program really helps the intro in fostering cooperation and allowing intro to expand its portfolio, because in the region, this program is a really, really well-known program for the professionals to be involved. The last is the professional networking. So we are now creating a network of or pool of young water resource professionals in the region that can create change the course of the inter-riparian interaction in the Nile basin. So you can imagine that so far we have enrolled and give the chance to be trained more than 200 young professionals in the region. So in terms of like the contribution to the region and also by different gender, we can see that more than 22% have been so far trained are female, and also 78% of the young professionals who have entered in this program were male. So as a principle and also as a policy, we put that starting from 20 to 30% needs to be a female candidate to be enrolled in the program to give equal chances or fair chances to be for the gender parity. So this is also one of the policy in the program. The other in terms of category, so far FLIRT team takes 23%, have been involved with the young professionals 7%, and also the interns, the regular interns, more than 70%. So in terms of by country, you can see that the proportion that the citizens who have been trained in this program were from South Sudan, 20%, from Sudan, 29%, Egypt, 10%, and Ethiopia, 41%. So here you can see that even though Egypt freezes its activity at the Nile Basin, we still give the chance to young professionals from Egypt to be also enrolled in this program. So far we have some Egyptians have been trained in this important program. So what are the future plans? So we do have to critically the plans in the future. So one is keeping connected and also increasing the number of interns and professionals to be enrolled. So in terms of keeping connected, we are now currently develop a general policy and guideline based on the 12 years of experience at intro and share to other NBI centers. And also we want to expand the sub-basin wide networks of young professionals. That means specific to each country, we want to create another pool of like networking within their own country to discuss issues specific to their country. The other is also establish online platform to engage alumni and increase the visibility of interest through these online platforms. In terms of increasing the number, we want to also cover more water resource development in management thematic areas to increase the number to enroll in the program. And at the same time, also, we need to enable participation of interdisciplinary water-related professionals. That means we want to give fair chances to the soft science in water and also the engineering and other aspects within the water resource management. And finally, also, we want to enroll more young professionals in the program from the basin to create an enabling environment for the future of transboundary water cooperation and solve the existing problem in the basin. So this is from my side. Thank you very much for giving me a chance to introduce this program, the moderator.
Thank you very much, Dr. Elias, for this very, very brilliant presentation. Indeed, the internship and young professional program you are running at Eastern Nile Intro since 2011. Very, very impressive. Over 200 interns so far that have been trained under this program. The 4 categories you are training people in, very, very interesting. And of course, also the successes you have achieved. I have seen a good mix of country representatives from the various countries, men and women. and also the future plans, of course, keeping the alumni connected, but also increasing the number because I think the demand is increased. So thank you very much for this very, very good presentation. A lot to learn from you, and I'm sure that the participants will have many, many questions for you. So I request the participants put your questions in the chat if you can, but we shall also have an opportunity at the end for questions to the presenters. We want to move on to the next presenter. I have been informed that Mr. Ali El-Haj is already online. So I'm going to invite Mr. Ali El-Haj to be ready to present to us on the topic of water diplomacy and cooperation in Eastern Nile Basin. Ali has a master's in political science. A young water researcher joined the Hydraulic Research Center in 2015, specializing in the field of water governance, policy, water diplomacy, transboundary cooperation, socio-economic studies in the water sector. During his period at HRC, he was involved in many research studies related to water sector planning, management, and environment. He participated in many national and international courses, programs, and workshops relevant to water and sustainable development issues in many countries, and is a former intern at ENTRO. So again, we want to listen to you, Ali, on your topic on water diplomacy and cooperation in Eastern Nile. Over to you. Ali, are you there and ready to project? Ali, I see you online. I don't know whether you are ready to present. If not ready, we can move on to the next presenter. But Ali, I had alerted you. I hope you are there. Maybe Patrick, you can see if he needs assistance to put up his presentation. Mr. Ali El-Haj, are you hearing me? Okay, so probably we give some time to Mr. Ali El-Haj to prepare, present. Let's move on to the next presenter who I think is ready. Mr. Ali, are you ready? Ali, I can see you are there, but we don't hear you. Okay, so as Mr. Ali El-Haj prepares himself, let me move on to Mr. Francis Xavier. Mr. Kizito, be ready to make your presentation. You'll be talking to us on the role of Water Resources Institute, the hydro diplomacy and capacity building in transboundary water resources management and governance. Kizito Francis Xavier works with the Water Resources Institute of the Ministry of Water and Environment in Uganda. He has over 6 years of experience working in the water and environment sector, and currently is responsible for applied research, innovations, data and information systems management, and testing of new innovative water and environment technologies and partnerships at the Water Resources Institute. Before joining the water and environment sector, he worked with the Uganda Bureau of Statistics as a data processing officer for 5 years, and was in charge of designing data entry systems and supporting data analysis and innovations. Let me invite you, Francis, to make your presentation.
Thank you very much, Dr. Callist. Thank you. I want to take this opportunity to thank NBI for organizing this platform where we are sharing as stakeholders within the region. Just to confirm whether my presentation is visible and in presentation mode.
It is. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I want to start with the background of the Water Resources Institute. The Water Resources Institute was set up as part of the reform studies that were carried out between 1999 to 2005, among which they pointed out the need to address the current and emerging water and environment resources issues strategically. These are some of the issues that were mentioned: pollution, climate variability, reduction in water availability, and to balance the water needs within the different sectors in the country: agriculture sector, energy sector, industry, and household in the country in a holistic manner. This reform study led to the establishment of the Water Resource Institute in 2018 as a semi-autonomous institute to offer integrated capacity building courses for officers joining the water and environment sector in the country, to conduct basic and applied research, to implement outreach activities related to research and human resource development, and also promote policy dialogue on water-related issues. At the Institute, we have a number of approaches that we use to build capacity, and these are the 4 thematic focus areas of the Institute. The first one, we have applied training in national and transboundary water resources management. Here, we look at building capacity of professionals joining the sector, and also those that are already within the sector. But also, besides from that, we try to make sure that we use an approach which is meaningful to learning and also teaching that enhances skills and knowledge to all professionals. Then also we focus on having hands-on tailor-made courses for sector professionals. We focus on having demonstration sites and practice sessions for the professionals. Then on the issue of applied research, that addresses national and transboundary water resources challenges, approaches, and technologies. As the Institute, our focus when it comes to research, we focus on practical problem-solving processes that applies innovations to existing water resources and environmental challenges within the region. Then when it comes to sector dialogues on national and transboundary water resources issues, the Institute, we've created a platform, a neutral platform, whereby different stakeholders come and dialogue. Our dialogues are multi-sectoral in nature, whereby I'll give an example on issues concerning the Nile. Issues concerning the Nile is only the water and environment sector in Uganda, but also the energy sector comes in, agriculture sector comes in. So these are the kind of dialogues that we are trying to foster, such that we improve on capacity building within the region. The last focus area we look at is outreach. Here we are trying to increase sharing of experiences, new concepts, innovations, and practices in national and transboundary water resources related issues. We have other capacity building approaches that we are focusing on young and mid-career entering within the. Here we are focusing on young and mid-career professionals, entry level, and so far we've mentored 86 females with support from 15 mentors. We have a pool of mentors where these mentors we get them from development partners within the sector. We have professionals within the Ministry of Water and Environment. We have people from CSOs, and we have people from the retired professionals within the sector. These 86 females, we've mentored them within 2 cycles. Currently, we have another cycle where we are looking at 60 females and also 30 males, and we're also trying to mentor them in different areas. We have a graduate trainee internship placement program with support from UNHCR. Internship placement program, whereby currently we have 40 students that have been placed in different refugee camps within the country to build their capacity and also to see how we can improve on their productivity. We have a again. This is the Water Institute of the Ministry of Water and Environment. We've given retired professionals contracts of 3 years and we also have a database of retired professionals. What we basically do, we have areas where we've specifically said that we need the retired professionals. These retired professionals, we believe that they are skilled, they have enough experience, and we cannot just let them go. So we have a number of activities where we think and we believe that we can use their expertise and skill. Some of the areas where we think we can use them is designing and conducting applied research, applied training courses for undergraduates and graduates joining the sector, and also those in service staff, and also serve as guest lecturers through international and regional research institutions. And also we believe that we can use them to contribute to applied research conducted within the Water Resource Institute. Then also we believe we can use them to provide short-term consultancy services to the sector in specific areas. Then these are the same people we are using in mentoring young water professionals and students. Then also use them to contribute to preparation of and review of sector documents in one area or another. Then also as the institute, we've since in 2022, we initiated another program of webinars where we call upon experts in the different areas of water and environment to share experiences, to share knowledge with the different stakeholders within the sector. So far, we've held 10 webinars, and these webinars, we hold them, or we normally have them for 2 hours during the last Friday of the month. Then we have dialogues and also the annual Uganda Water and Environment Week. So far, we've held 6 Uganda Water and Environment Weeks since 2018. Here, we've managed to create a platform where stakeholders share knowledge and also discuss topical issues within the sector. Another approach we have is applied research. Under applied research, we have grants which will be issued out as soon as possible. And here we believe that these will support us in trying to develop solutions to the prevailing challenges within the sector. Here I want to discuss on the achievements of the Water Resources Institute since 2018, in line with the thematic areas of focus. Under applied training, so far since 2018, we've conducted more than 76 short courses. Our short courses are short in nature, that short courses run for 2 to 2 weeks, 2 days to 2 weeks. These are the kind of short courses we have. And since 2018, we built capacity of close to 150 professionals within the sector. 2019, we built capacity of close to 250 professionals within the sector. 2020, we had close to 350 professionals within the sector. 2021, we had close to 380 professionals within the sector. 2022, we built capacity of more than 400 professionals within the sector. 2023, so far, we've built capacity of close to 320 professionals within the sector. When it comes to dialogues, we've had a number of dialogues. Like I said, our dialogues are multi-sectoral in nature, are focusing not only on water and environment, but also on other sectors, since water impacts on so many sectors within the country and also the region. So in 2018, we managed to have 5 dialogues. 2019, we had 6 dialogues. 2020, due to COVID challenges, we had 4 dialogues. 2022, we had 5 dialogues that were held. 2022, we had 7 dialogues that were held. 2023, as of now, we've held 9 dialogues. These dialogues are handled whereby we bring together a number of experts together. We bring the academia, we bring the policy, we bring politicians, CSO, media, and private sector to discuss the topical issue that we have. When it comes to outreach, I'll focus more on the Uganda Water and Environment Week, which is a platform which we put in place as the institute since 2018 to help in providing a platform where stakeholders can exchange knowledge and information. In 2018, during the Uganda Water and Environment Week, we had 500 participants These were physical. Then in 2019, we had close to 1,000 participants, and these were all physical. In 2020, this was a hybrid nature event where we had close to 1,200 participants. 2021, we had close to 1,800 participants. Again, this was hybrid in nature. 2022, we had close to 2,300 participants. Again, it was hybrid in nature. And also this year in 2023, during the Uganda Environment Week in March, we had close to 2,500 participants. Uganda Open Environment Week has a number of activities. This is what I can say. And we have cleanup activities, marathon, debates. And the idea behind all these activities is sensitization of the public on topical issues or the challenges we have within the sector. When it comes to the dialogue, the applied research and applied research, a number of papers have been presented within the framework of the Water Resources Institute. And these papers, some are policy, scientific, and practice. In 2018, we presented close to 45 papers. 2019, around 75 papers. 2020, we had 35 papers due to, again, to COVID challenges. In 2021, we had around 55 papers presented. In 2022, we had around 65 papers presented. Then this year in 2023, we had close to 72 papers that were presented. All these activities that we implement at the Institute are implemented at national, regional, and international levels. And all these activities are implemented either online, physical, or hybrid in nature. What I can say on how we implement all these activities, we conduct all these activities, most of the activities, on a cost sharing, collaboration, and partnership arrangement with different national, regional, and international organizations, such as the Global Water Partnership, WaterAid, Nile Basin Initiative, CAPNet, GIZ, universities like Makerere University, IGAD, UN agencies, Nile Ida Remnet, the British Geological Survey, Water for People, Care Water, World Bank, and others. This slide I want to, like I said when I was presenting something to do with applied trainings, we've held more than 76 short courses. However, this slide I'm focusing on only those are transboundary in nature. They are specific to transboundary of water resources management, and there are 10 since 2018. The first one, we had a training on water diplomacy and negotiation, where we had 35 participants. These were coming from different countries within Africa. The hydro diplomacy training, here we had 25 participants. Then we had the Nile Basin journalist training. There were 23 in number. These were coming from the different countries through which the River Nile goes through. Then we had the training on decision makers in transboundary water cooperation and hydro diplomacy. Future water scenario to purpose. We had a climate risk informed decision analysis training. These were 28 participants. We had the hybrid water law on water allocation, water permitting license across water sector in Africa. This was supported by IGAD. We had the Pan-Africa training on international water law and water governance. What I can say with this training, that since 2018, this training, we have it annually. It's on an annual basis since 2018. With support from a number of, again, partners. Then we have the sharing water quality experiences. This was organized by NELSAP and Live2 project. Here we had participants from DR Congo and also Rwanda. Then we had the training on M&E tool operationalization for strengthening drought resilience for smallholder farmers and pastoralists in IGAD region. Here we had 22 participants. What I can say about the Water Resource Institute, we have tried to strengthen partners relationship and also networking. And so far we've signed 5 MOUs with a number of partners. And right now we have 15 partners. We are still engaging them in a number of discussions to see that we can have MOUs or partnership agreements with them. Among the institutions that we are still engaging and having discussions, we have the International Water Management Institute, we have water.org, and a number of institutions, both in regional and national. Thank you very much. This is what I can present on behalf of the Water Resource Institute. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kizito Francis Xavier, for this brilliant presentation. Again, you did highlight the role of the Water Resources Institute in hydro diplomacy and capacity building, transboundary water resources management and governance. You gave the background of the Water Resources Institute, the rationale for establishing the institute, the 4 thematic areas of the institute, and the different programs the institute is conducting to build capacity. You also highlighted the achievements that have been realized since 2018, and you specifically highlighted the capacity building programs related to transboundary water resources management and the number of people that have benefited from these programs. So thank you very much. Again, colleagues, you can post the questions in the chat, and I want to request the presenters go in the question and answer section and respond to the question that have been posted there. Dr. Reyes, I already see some questions for you. So keep on posting the questions, and I want to request the presenters to respond the extent possible, but we shall have an opportunity at the end to actually have questions and answer session. Let's move on with the next presenter. I do hope that Mr. Ali El-Haj is ready. Can I confirm that Mr. Ali El-Haj is ready? Are you there, Ali?
Yes. Can I show my slide, please?
Can I confirm that Mr. Yusuf
Yes.
Ali Mohammed is
here.
ready? Is this
Yes,
Yusuf?
I'm ready.
Yusuf? Okay. So Yusuf, you are going to come in and you are going to present to us on international water law and transboundary water courses management, a comparative study of the Tigris, Euphrates, and the Nile River basins. Yusuf, you can be reading your presentation as I introduce you. Yusuf Ali Mohammed is a doctoral philosophy student at Anadolu University in Turkey. He received his Master's of Arts degree in Public Law in 2021 from Ankara Beyaz University in Turkey. Also received his Bachelor of Law in 2014 from the Dawa University in Ethiopia. He's interested in international law and human rights law. Previously served as the legal advisor of the president of Harare People Regional State in Ethiopia. So I want to invite you, Yusuf, to make your presentation. Yusuf, you are ready? Can you start? Yusuf, are you hearing me? Can you unmute and then start your presentation? Yusuf, are you there? Secretariat, you may need to check to see whether Yusuf needs assistance to make his projection.
We can move to Al-Haji. He seems to be ready as Yusuf organizes himself.
Ali Haji, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Please share my screen.
Okay, so let me introduce you as they share your screen. Mr. Ali El-Haji is going to talk to us about water diplomacy and cooperation. I had already introduced him earlier, and I would want invite him to make his presentation. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Dear all, Assalamu alaikum and good morning. Kindly accept my warm greetings from Sudan, and I do my apologize for this inconvenience due to a schedule poor cut and poor internet signal here in Wad Madani. This is Ali Muhammad Ahmed Al-Haj, and for the next minutes, I am going to present with you a brief summary about the result of the 14th batch of internship program, which held in 2020. So I'm present these slides on behalf of my colleagues from South Sudan, Mr. Robert, and Dr. Hart from Egypt, and Dr. Mezrit from Ethiopia. Next slide, please. Yes. Next slide. The first slide, please. The first slide.
We have the slide on water diplomacy in Eastern Nile Basin. Main objective and specific objective. Is that where you want us to be, Mr. Lad?
Hello?
Yusuf, the slides are there, Yusuf. Can you continue?
Yes, we can continue.
Okay, so Ali, you go ahead. Yes, sorry, I was mixing up.
Yes.
Ali, you go ahead. The presentation is there for you.
As you see here in this slide, water diplomacy may be used as a tool to avoid conflict between countries and communities related to water issues. So water diplomacy is used as a soft tool to bring peace and stability among nations and countries.
We are having some background noise.
The main objective of this study is to identify the potential of water diplomacy.
Ali, can you mute some other computer? I think you have two systems on. You go ahead and we see whether it is better.
Yeah, you will see, but you will not talk.
So which one should I mute?
Mute the one above.
Yes.
And see the one above, but
yes. The main objective of this study is to identify the potential of water diplomacy that can play a role as a peaceful mean for cooperation in the Eastern Nile Basin. This is the main target of and objective of this study. But on the other hand, the specific objective is to identify the main challenges of water diplomacy in the Eastern Nile Basin. Here I'm talking about the formal and informal diplomacy. Maybe some of you know that the formal diplomacy in Eastern Nile Basin has already existed, but there is no clear rule for informal water diplomacy or track 2 water diplomacy. Also, in the term of specific objectives, the study also targeted to assess the type of water diplomacy practiced in the Eastern Nile Basin, which is mainly formal diplomacy or track 1 diplomacy. Also, the study targeted to analyzing the role of multi-track water diplomacy that can influence or support track 1 or support the formal diplomacy. At the end, the study also aimed to compare the lesson learned from the shared river basin across the world about the approach that is can be adopted in the Eastern Nile Basin. So we have some cases from globally transboundary water, transboundary river management. So we analyzing the role of water diplomacy in this basin, and we saw so far how it is much against the Eastern Nile Basin. Next slide, please.
Next.
Ali, the slides are displayed.
Ali, can you proceed? Ali, are you still there?
Speaking with the hands.
Ali, we don't hear you. You are trying to speak, but we don't hear you. Ali, your mic is on, but we don't hear you at all. So I don't know whether you are speaking. Do you hear us, Ali? We
Ali,
seem
can
to
you
be having a
results in
problem
the
with
chat?
Ali. Secretariat, are you checking to see how he can be helped? I see has muted. Ali, can you unmute? And we see whether we can hear you. We seem to be having a challenge with Ali. Probably we switch on and then we bring on Ali a bit later. Yusuf, are you ready? So that we can maybe come to you and then we have Ali later after sorting out his problem. Yusuf, are you ready?
Yes, Dr. Khalist, I'm ready. If you can let me in.
Can I request Patrick if you can close this presentation and then we bring in Yusuf as we sort out the challenge Ali is having. So Yusuf had already actually introduced you. So you are going to present to us on international water law and transboundary water course management, the comparative study of the Tigris, Euphrates, and the Nile River Basin. So over to you, Ali. Brother Yusuf.
Thank you so much, Dr. Khalist, for that brief introduction. And I would like also want to thank Nile Basin Initiative for organizing such a wonderful forum. It's an honor for me to present this paper. So as you can see from the screen, my presentation is going to be on the international law and transboundary watercourse management, a comparative study of Tigris, Euphrates, and Nile River Basin. So first, to give you a short highlight of my presentations, I will first give you a short but brief introduction, and then followed by similar features of both basins. And then I will be focusing on the dissimilar features of these two rivers, followed by I'm going to be focusing basically on the application of equitable and reasonable use applications in this both river basins. And then finally, I will conclude my paper. So to start with the introduction, as we all know, transboundary watercourse are aquifers, lake, and also rivers, which are basically shared by two or more states. So far, this transboundary watercourses are covered 45.3% of the land surfaces, which basically affects about 40% of the world populations and accounts approximately 80% of global river flow. Well, several studies have so far shown that there are no smooth practices, meaning the management differ from basin to basins and also from time to time. So comparatively, studying various river basins have academic as well as practical significances in a way of exploring and also learning experiences from each other, and also adapting better experiences in respective boundaries. So my study is basically considering two most disputed river basins from Northeast African and also from the Middle East. Particularly, the study is going to focus on the Tigris-Euphrates and Nile River basins, of course, from international law perspectives, but within the scope of normative and institutional aspects. So my paper basically was formatted in a qualitative research method. To start with the similar features, first I will provide you the general perspectives, then focus on the normative perspective and the institutional perspective. To start with the general perspectives, both Nile River and ET River basins have rich history. They both flow toward the Middle East as well, and also both have three key riparian players. Basically, in the ET River basins, we have Turkey, Syria, Iraq as a key riparian states. And when it comes to Nile rivers, we have Ethiopia, Egypt, and Sudan for the obvious reasons. When it comes to normative perspectives, to start with how they approach their respective river, we have single and divided river system approach in both basins. When we see the ET river basins, down riparian states basically follow divided approach, meaning they tend to prefer Euphrates and Tigris river differently. When it comes to upstream riparian states, they want to consider this river as a single river system, meaning Euphrates Tigris river system. When it comes to Nile basins, well, for basically budgeting and management issues, we can see that they tend to divide the Nile River in two systems as well. As we all know, we have what we call Eastern Nile region subsidiary action programs, as I think a while ago, one of our presenters focused on that particular region. And we have also what we call Nile Equatorial Lake region, SAP. So of course, like I said, for budgeting and management issues, we tend to have in the Nile as well, EN SAP and NEL SAP. Well, as what we have to underline here is that, a dividing approach are basically against what we call integrated water resource management, which is very crucial for a particular river basins. Next, what we can see here is in both basins, we don't have we don't have we have what we call the 1997 UN Water Course Conventions, and we have also customary international water course laws. But due to contentious issues and due to also ratification issues, these two most important legal regime are not applicable in both basins. When the other issue here is there are disagreements also over historical and natural rights. In both basins, down riparian states tend to claim for historical and natural rights. When it comes to upper riparian states in both states, they both stand against such claim. when it comes to foreign interventions in both basins, we can see that there are direct or indirect form of foreign interventions. In ET River basins, we have France, and in the Nile River basins, we can see also British interventions. When it comes to institutional perspectives, institutionally, we have what we call ad hoc and permanent institutional arrangements. In the both basins, basically in ET River basins, we have first GTC, Joint Technical Committees, which have an ad hoc natures. And when it comes to Nile River basins, as we all know, all Nile institutional arrangements that we have so far are ad hoc by its natures. And we can also see from technical and responsibilities that are assigned to these ad hoc initiatives are kind of similar. And most importantly, all these institutional arrangements that are being present in both basins are really we can see that they lack bearing results. Now let's move on to the differences. To start with the general perspectives. Well, as we all know, Nile is the longest river, so it's no way compared to ET River basins. So Nile is much, it flows longer than the ET River basins. And when it comes to riparian stats, in ET we have 4 riparian stats, which are Turkey, Syria, Iraq, and Iran. When it comes to Nile River basins, we have 11 riparian stats. Now let's move on to normative perspectives. To start with the legal doctrinal theories, in the ET River basins, we have what we see is tolerable approach when it comes to theoretical approach. So all riparian stats, we can say more or less adhere to limited territorial sovereignty. When it comes to Nile River basins, we can see that they follow conflicting approach, which upstream riparian states tend to follow limited territorial sovereignties. But when it comes to down riparian states, we can see that they tend to follow absolute territorial integrity and prior appropriations. Now, when it comes to level of water quantifications, comparatively, we can say that in ET River basins, it's kind of mature because there are they tend to employ some ways of quantifying their waters, among all riparian states. But when it comes to Nile River basins, it's off the table, so we can say that it's immature. Now, when it comes to institutional perspective, in the ET River basins, we have joint technical committees, which kind of resemble river basin coordinating committee or council. When it comes to Nile river basins, we have Nile Basin initiatives, which kind of similar with River Basin Authority. Now, let's move on to the durations. As we all know, first GTC, as I have said a while ago, have an ad hoc nature. But when it comes to second GTC, it has a permanent nature. But when it comes to Nile River basins, well, all those initiatives, we can name them like Hydromet, Doing Good, Take on Nile, and also NBDF are all ad hoc by its natures. But we have also what we call Nile Basin commissions, which is really permanent, but it was intended to be permanent, but it's not yet established. So we can say that this is not yet realized. When it comes to structural setups, well, GTC follows a very simple structure. When it's come to NBI, it's well structured. We have NILCOM, NILTAC, and also NILSEC. When it's come to operational status, GTC is not active for lots of security and political issues. And when it comes to Nile River basins, the good thing is NBI is still active and also responsible for organizing today's wonderful forum. So now, what are lessons to be drawn from their experience? Well, in ET River basins, there is what we call Friendship Dam, which was planned to be built along Turkey and Syria border. And also it was intended to build trust among down and upper riparian states. But this is not yet actualized because of security issues that happen to be in Syria. Now let's come to Nile River basins. Well, when we see the experience of Nile River basins, I think let me done with the ET River basin, then I will be back to the Nile River basins. Second of all, we have what we call Louisiana Peace Treaty, which was signed between Turkey and victorious states in 1923. This treaty disassociate border issues with transboundary waters, and this kind of treaties really help us not to exacerbate basin-wide corporations. And the third key point is we have what we call Atatürk Dam, and this dam is already, this is like the huge dam that is located in Turkey. So I think this dam could help to take some experiences from its first filling and operations, and it may help to settle the ongoing disputes over the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Now let's move on to Nile River basins. What we can draw as a lesson from Nile River basin is the CFA, the Cooperative Framework Agreement. Well, from this agreement is all-inclusive by its nature, and it's intended for a basin-wide legal regimes, which supposed to replace all colonial treaties. It basically prioritizes equitable and fair share for all, and also it was intended to establish permanent institutions for Nile River basins, but it's not yet it's not yet entered into force, so it is still pending to be ratified by the other riparian states, and when it reaches its ratification threshold, I think it will enter into force in the near future. Now, when it comes to other most important lesson that should be drawn from Nile River Basin is we have what we call Nile Basin initiatives, the initiative that's responsible to organize today's forum. So by nature, this initiative is active, is still operational. It's not really it's not halted, which is very, very good. And this kind of initiatives basically keeps basin-wide cooperations to continue. Now, let me now focus on the equitable and reasonable applications. To start with the general perspective, well, in ET River basins, there is existence of understanding to use the river by all. We have treaty regimes, the 1987 Turkey-Syria Treaty and the 1990 Syria-Iraq Treaty. And the 1987 treaty states that Turkey commits itself to release 500 metric cube per second water flow towards Syria. And the 1919 Syria Treaty was based on the 1987, and it partitions the 500 meter per second flow to the two down riparian states, which are Syria and Iraq. And it partitioned these two down riparian states, divided this 500 meter per second flow into 42% and 58% respectively. And this treaty was done during the Ataturk Dam failing period. Now, when it comes to institutional aspect, we can see that some productive efforts that can be exhibited in the first GTC and second GTC. And this first GTC, we can see that they were responsible to determine and regulate yearly ET discharge. And also, when it comes to the second one, we can see that they were responsible to come up with detailed master plan for equitable and reasonable share. So when we take all this into one basket, we can see that ET river basins, more or less adhere to equitable and reasonable principle. Now, with this having on one hand, now let's move on to the Nile River basins. When we see the Nile River basins, we see that all water is mine mentality by the two utmost down riparian states. And from treaty regimes, what we have is colonial regimes so far. So basically the 1902, but most importantly the 1929 and the 1959 treaty regimes are present. So these treaty regimes are not narrated and designed first to guarantee the whole Nile river flow of the Nile, or the whole Nile river flow to the two utmost down riparian states. And also these treaty regimes are designed not to be used, are narrated and designed not to be used, but the whole water flow, I mean, are designed not to be used by the upper riparian states without downstream express consent. And all institutional initiatives, from institutional aspect, all institutional initiatives that have been established so far are designed not to entertain cases related to Nile water requantifications. Watershed requests are considered a red line by the down riparian states, mainly by Egypt. So when we take this all into a basket, we can see that Nile river basins do not adhere to equitable and reasonable principles. So when we take these two rivers in a comparative perspective, so we can see that ET river basins management are in a better position for adhering to equitable and reasonable use of principle. So the key takeaway from my presentation, from my paper, is ET river basin management, has better experience when it comes to trying to build trust among riparian states, when it comes to de-associating border and river issues, and when it comes to also first filling and operation of dam, like Ataturk Dam, and also they have better experience in adhering or applying equitable and reasonable use principles. When it comes to Nile River Basin management, still Nile River Basin has better experience first in crafting inclusive basin-wide legal regimes, which is CFA, and also they have better experience in organized institutional arrangements like NBI and LBC. So both basins, can and also shall learn from their respective better experiences, and then they can adapt or interpret their better experience in accordance with their respective basin scenarios. That's all I have. Thank you very much. So I will leave it here.
Thank you very much, Yusuf, for this very, very interesting presentation again. You have really given us a good comparative analysis of the Tigris, Euphrates, and Nile River Basin. You called them the two most disputed river basins, indeed. And also you have looked at this from the general, normative, and institutional perspectives. And you have highlighted the similarities and dissimilarities. And we have also indicated really how we can ensure that we learn from each other. You gave the historical perspective. You also highlighted where each of the basins are. You also introduced us the issue of equitable and reasonable application. You indicated how each of the basins is faring. And also you have indicated clearly that the two basins, each of them has things that the other basin can learn from. So thank you very much for this presentation. Again, I want to request all of you colleagues online, post your questions in the chat, but I also want to request the presenters to respond to the questions. I see some questions in the chat. Respond to them so that the people listening in can get the answers. We now go for our last presentation. Ali had already started presenting to us, but had some connection challenges. He was presenting to us on the topic on water diplomacy and cooperation in Eastern Nile Basin. So Ali, you can take the floor. I hope the network will be better now, but over to you, Ali El Haj.
Thank you, Doctor, for inviting me to this presentation. And I do apologize for this inconvenience due to poor network connection and scheduled power cut. Yes, let us continue just to save time. This paper, it's a final document of 14th internship of 14th internship program, 14th batch of internship program, which held on 2020. Also, we're familiar as COVID batch. So I present this paper on behalf of my colleagues, Robert from South Sudan, Dr. Harb from Egypt, and Dr. Mizret from Ethiopia. Also, I see Mr. Harb, Mr. Robert around here. So thank you, Robert, for your support. Please show the first slide. The first slide. Yes. So, yes, water diplomacy may be used as an approach to avoid conflict between countries and communities related to water issues. So, use water diplomacy as usual, used as tools, as a soft tools to enhance cooperation between countries. When the track 2 water diplomacy, which is identified as informal water diplomacy, used to support formal diplomacy. The track 2 water diplomacy is a discussion of the non-official conflicting parties to resolve the dispute and explore the option for solving the outstanding issue by developing the wide range of techniques such as face-to-face dialogue, conflict resolution resolution training, and others. This study is only center of the Eastern Nile Basin, which is divided into 4 sub-basins, and which is identified as the most political and securitized sub-basin in the Nile Basin. So water diplomacy focuses on establishment of novel solution. It may be useful to manage a complex water network among the sharing stakeholder for both formal diplomacy and informal diplomacy. Next slide, please. In the methodology part, the most important here, this study uses a multidisciplinary approach, which is quantitative and survey approach. By identifying the several water treaties and agreements that have signed as a baseline of this study. Also, exploring the pitfall, the successful, and the failure experience from the previous agreement in the Eastern Nile Basin. In addition to that, also extracting lessons from the successful transboundary water treaties, which can be adopted for the Eastern Nile Basin, both for survey and from survey and literature review was analyzed by using the narrative approach. Regarding the data collection for this paper, the secondary and primary data were used. The primary data were mainly gathered from the interview with resource persons from the Eastern Nile Basin countries to know the perspective of the community regarding water diplomacy and evaluate the current challenges that hindering water diplomacy in the Eastern Nile Basin. On the other hand, we see that the secondary data mainly obtained from the literature review, which including journal articles, book. Also, we use the material provided by intro. In the analysis, in the analysis part, the analysis approach used is the quantitative. As we see here, the information has mainly extracted from the literature through the observation and document analysis. However, the descriptive and explanatory approach used in the analysis stage to assess the existing and the potential and draw the result and the final recommendation. So I can say that the study mainly use the mixed approach, which is quantitative and qualitative approach. Next slide, please. Yes. As you see here, this result, which is gathered from two parts we gathered result from two parts. The first one is the literature review, which is covered the transboundary rivers, and the second part is the online survey. What is the interest from the result? The first part of result illustrates the worldwide transboundary water management experience to see how basins in the world deal with sharing water problems, and we selected 4 basins, namely Jordan Basin and Mekong Basin, also Senegal Basin, and Rhine Basin. So what we did in this comparison stage, we tried to compare these basins with Eastern Nile Basin experience to see what kind of lesson can be learned from the basin and what kind of dispute in this basin and how they resolve this the dispute between them, and what kind of water diplomacy that have been used. Also, what kind of strategies and technical bodies or technical committee use to manage and to manage the dispute, and what kind of conflict resolution mechanism which is adopted in this basin. Just to draw lesson from this basin can be useful for the Eastern Nile Basin. For example, from the Jordan, the civil servant and the civil society groups play an important role as a track to water diplomacy to facilitate the negotiation between Israel and Arab countries, which is lead at the end to sign the peace treaty 1994. The peace treaty is a chapter in the peace treaty discuss the water issues in the Jordan rivers. The civil society as a track to water diplomacy play an important role to facilitate the communication between the Israel part and Arab part. Also, the third part, which is United Nations and USA played an important role in this treaty. We see also here in the Mekong, there is no significant role for track 2 water diplomacy. In Rhine also, the civil servant and non-state actors play an important role to facilitate the communication between upstream and downstream countries. In Senegal also, the civil servant and non-state actors play a vital role in facilitate the communication. It maybe in Senegal there is no clear dispute, but also the civil servant play an important role to manage the situation over there. If we're talking about the strategy which is adopted to solve the dispute, in Jordan, for example, the society the society and political stability strategy were used just to keep the war between Israel and Arab countries. Also in the Mekong, the coordinated development in the river used as strategy. In the Rhine, the strategy used is one-side payment between downstream and upstream countries because the problem over there is the pollution. On the Senegal benefit sharing, but if we come here to the Eastern Nile Basin, there is no clear strategy adopted yet. If we go to the outcomes from interview, which is here with the resource person, academician, water resource engineer, and some of part of university decision makers, we gathered many results that describes the situation of water diplomacy and the main challenge here in the Eastern Nile Basin. For example, in the first figure, I couldn't see it. Maybe they share the past presentation, not the one I sent it. About 51% of the response understood the water diplomacy in the Eastern Nile Basin as a mechanism should be used to resolve the dispute. When 31 of the response understood water diplomacy as a tool and or techniques should be used also to manage water resource in the Eastern Nile Basin. If we see also the figure, the next one is displays the conception of the response towards the main actors of water diplomacy or hydro diplomacy, and they say that they highlighted Ministry of Irrigation as the main actors of water diplomacy. Ministry of Irrigation should be a significant role in water diplomacy in the Eastern Nile Basin, and most of them say that Ministry of Foreign Affairs should be also an important role in initiate kind of water diplomacy mechanism in the Eastern Nile Basin. Also, we asked them about the type of water diplomacy approach which is recommended to be adopted in the Eastern Nile Basin. As we see from the result, about 52% of the response indicate that the negotiation mechanism may be the best approach of implementing peaceful cooperation between Eastern Nile Basin, followed by 27% of response rise the mediation, and 16% rise the arbitration and other techniques in the Eastern Nile Basin. Also, the next figure also illustrate the response about how they see water cooperation in the Eastern Nile Basin until now. From the figure, most of the response will have this information about the cooperation in the Eastern Nile Basin. Most of them, around 70%, they have no clear idea about the cooperation in the Eastern Nile Basin. Also, 20%, they say the cooperation in Eastern Nile Basin maybe like intermediate. Some countries play an important roles and some countries are not playing any role in cooperation in the Eastern Nile Basin. So also we try to ask them about their view to assess the level of water diplomacy approach which is exercised in the Eastern Nile according to the interview self-rating about 47%. They said water diplomacy is the weak in the Eastern Nile Basin. Some of them identified water diplomacy is it is also in good way. What we get from the survey, the most important point from the result from the survey, to sum up, the results show that there is need to undertake the creation of water diplomacy awareness, raise the awareness about the water diplomacy in the Eastern Nile Basin through different approaches such as media, internet, magazine, news, and any web platform, just to raise the awareness about the water diplomacy and how water diplomacy can lead countries towards the peacefully water benefit sharing or water allocation sharing. Next slide, please. Yeah, in this slide, we try to conclude and recommend our result from both survey and literature review. Water diplomacy that has been practiced in the Eastern Nile Basin does not address the interest and demand of all Liberian countries. According to the response, which lead to Liberian countries to focus on unilateral development of the Nile water, also to focus on water allocation more than the benefit sharing. The study also indicate and identify the clear role of civil society group, and it should be strengthened to lead the track 2 water diplomacy mechanism in the Eastern Nile Basin. The finding from the study would recommend that the Nile Liberian countries should enhance and should lead new effort to raise the awareness about understanding the water diplomacy and the role of civil society and other stakeholders in the region. Also, we were recommended to establish kind of permanent commission with a mandate of addressing all the technical, social, and political issues in the basin and carry out the implementation of the treaty and benefit sharing project instead of water allocation project. The main or the most interesting or key factor here is the role of civil society. We have to enhance the role of the civil society. So the study indicates that the role of civil society and other actors in the region is a significant in enhancing the formal water diplomacy and to reach an agreement, equitable agreement between downstream and upstream countries. We see that the experience from global transboundary water resource management shows that the negotiation and mediation and other water diplomacy approach were adopted and used in solving the dispute over shared water resource. In addition to that, the civil society and other actors played a significant role in bridging the gap and creation a natural platform for interaction between the Liberian state. To sum up, the civil society or track 2 water diplomacy can bridge the gap between the state actors On other words, track 2 water diplomacy can support track 1 and facilitate the communication between countries, the formal communication between countries, because we get from the past experience in the Eastern Nile Basin, the main problem is the lack of political will to enhance the peaceful cooperation between riparian states. So we need to initiate kind of mechanism or organization support the role of civil society groups or the role of track 2 water diplomacy. I think Nile Basin Initiative have some bodies such as Nile Basin networks also in the way to play this important role. That's all I have. Thank you, and I hope you get my points here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ali Mohammed Erhaj, for this presentation on water diplomacy and how to contribute to cooperation in Eastern Nile and also the broad Nile Basin. In your presentation, you clearly took us through what diplomacy is all about, the types of diplomacy, the formal and informal. You also took us through the methodology you have employed in this study and how you have analyzed the data and how you have actually presented the results, indicating the roles of the various stakeholders. You have also helped us to appreciate the importance of working with the civil society in our basin and also the other basins. And most importantly, the need to raise awareness about water diplomacy and how it contributes to transboundary water cooperation. You made some conclusions and recommendations to the Nile Basin Initiative and the Nile Basin in general, and all of us so that we can pick them up and use them to improve cooperation on shared water resources. So thank you very much for the presentation. So ladies and gentlemen, this marks the end of our presentations. We have had 4 presentations. We started with the first presentation by Dr. Elias Tedra, Achieving Transboundary Water Cooperation in the Eastern Nile Region through Thematic Capacity Development Programs. This was followed by the presentation by Mr. Francis Kizito Xavier on the role of the Water Resources Institute in hydro diplomacy and capacity building, transboundary water resources management and governance. This was followed by the presentation by Mr. Yusuf Ali Mohammed on international water and transboundary water course management, a comparative study of the Tigris, Euphrates, and the Nile River basins. And the last but not least was the presentation by Mr. Ali Mohammed Erhaj on water diplomacy and cooperation in Eastern Nile Basin. So, and this brings us to the time when we want to hear from you. We're opening up for questions, comments. You can put up your hands and then I invite you. But I also would like to note that we have some questions in the chat. So I want to request the presenters to check in the chat. There are some questions already there. Questions by various people. And I see questions which were given to Dr. Elias. So look through those questions and any other presenters who feel that they can respond to these questions. So we open the floor for comments, questions, colleagues. Put up your hands so that we can give you the floor. And when you raise a question, indicate the person to whom you are raising the comment or question to. The floor is open. In case you fail to not put up your hand, you can speak out loudly. Otherwise, if you check on the bottom, there is an option of raising the hand. You will see it. But in case you fail, you can still speak out loudly. But we can already start responding to the questions in the chat. Dr. Elias, have you seen the questions in the chat?
Yeah, sure, Dr. Carlos.
Yeah, you can already start responding to some of these questions. Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Carlos, for the nice moderation on the presentations. So I have some, I think, 4 or 5 specific questions directed to me in terms of asking some information regarding the intro internship and professional program. So the first question is why Eastern Nile countries, and similar question also from other colleagues that why not interns from Uganda? So as you know that the intro is governed by the Eastern Nile Council of Ministers and also to implement the Eastern Nile Subsidiary Action Program. So this one program specific to the Eastern Nile region. So that's why one of the major reason that specifically we take the internship or interns and professionals from the region. The other is also in terms of from the budgeting point of view that these Eastern Nile countries contribute as country contribution, and all the projects are specific to the focusing on the Eastern Nile region. So that's why most of the time we only allow interns and professionals to be enrolled in the program from the 4 countries, which is Egypt, Ethiopia, South Sudan, and Sudan. So this is the major reason that we only focus on the Eastern Nile region. So the other question is also how young professionals can join the program. Just finished the university, which is to tell you the information regarding this per year we run 3 programs. So the 2 programs are on the regular category of internship, and the third is for the flag team. So the 2 programs, the regular internship program will run starting from November to January and from March to June. So in this program, anyone from these 4 countries can apply, and specifically to have an age of less than 35 years of age, and specific to the region can apply within these 2 programs. The third one is the regular Fred season program, which is only specific to the 3 countries for Ethiopia, Sudan, and South Sudan, and we request each ministry from the Ministry of Water Resource in each country to assign as expert in flood modeling, because one of the objective of this program is to enhance capacity of the flood centers in each country. So that's only by nomination from the respective country. So there is 2 opportunities within the year, one from November to January, the other is from March to June to apply for that. So for that reason, we post in Intro website and NILESEC website sometimes, and also all Intro social media websites, we post the announcement, and then based on the requirements, anyone can apply from the region to be enrolled in the program. So the other question is there currently any training availability? Of course, on October 8th, we concluded the application for the interns to start in November. So the next batch will be in February. So please try to look at on the website to apply for the next March entry to engage with this program. So the last question, which is forwarded is by my colleague, is that what are the sustainability plan of the program beyond the external funding support? As you know that most of the Nile Basin centers, they function with 2 funding lines. One is from the country contribution, the other is from projects. So the objective is this program is to be sustainable. All countries need to be supply their contribution every year. But as you know that due to different challenges, this is not yet implemented, especially for some countries. So we rely currently on projects, but the objective and the plan is to be supported by this country contribution, even though there is no any support from the project. But currently, since we don't have viable and active projects, so we are supporting by the project money for the program. But as you say, that's correct and right. If we want to sustainable this program, we need to support from the country contribution and from the centers. So these are, I think, some of the questions which forwarded to me Dr. Karst. So if there is any, I can come up again to respond again.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Ali, for the good responses. I see some questions in the chat, some for Yusuf. Yusuf, maybe you can check those questions that are for you. I hope you see them in the chat.
Yes, Dr. Kalis, thank you very much again for the opportunity. I can only see one question that was directed to me, and the question goes as, recalling the missing of equitable and reasonable use in the Nile River basins. And it says what can be done to change this. I think the most important key points here are, I think, 5. And the first one is the understanding that the understanding difference of upstream and downstream riparian states. So I think there has to be an understanding that Nile River basins are not only owned by the 2 at most down riparian states. There has to be an understanding that it's a river basin that crosses 11 riparian states, so it should be owned by 11 riparian states. So this springboard us to the legal regime that we have in the Nile River Basin high there too. So this is those treaty regimes that we have are basically the 1929 and the 1959. But as a background, we have also the 1902 of Anglo and Ethiopian treaty regimes. So the first step should be decolonizing those treaty regimes. So the first understanding will lead us to decolonize these treaty regimes. So once these treaty regimes become in existence, there has to be a trust among riparian states. So I'm sure that the 2 down riparian states, they won't just easily tend to decolonize those treaty regimes, because for obvious reasons, those treaty regimes privilege 2 down riparian states. So there has to be a trust among the all riparian states, among the upstream and down riparian states. So once this trust is there, for example, what we have seen in the Tigris-Euphrates River Basin is how they try to build trust. So what they did was they tried to build friendship dam just along the two upstream and downstream riparian states along the Syria border. So this kind of dam, this kind of friendship dam will help to build trust among riparian states. So they may employ this kind of strategies or different strategies that can help us, that can help them to build trust among these upstream, downstream riparian states. So once trust is there, I think the most key point is to have a basin-wide convention, a basin-wide treaty regime. So if the Nile have a basin-wide treaty regimes, which was already there since 2010, the cooperative framework agreement, but unfortunately, which is not yet enforced. So if it is possible, bringing the 2 downstream riparian states on board and doing, making some kind of compromises on the remaining contention issues, which is, of course, need to be settled by the basin commissions, which will be established per the CFA. So I think the most important thing is bringing this basin-wide conventions on the ground. Once the convention is there, I think there will be a permanent institutions. The Nile River Basin Commission will be established, which will play a key role, a huge role in creating and having the understanding that I've said, the decolonizing that need to be really need to be settled, and the trust. So this commission will play a huge role in creating a fertile ground to use the Nile River equitably and reasonably among all riparian states, but not just by the two utmost down riparian states. So this leads us to the cooperation. So whatever the case, whatever the time, whatever the the differences that they have, is there need to be a cooperation. So the cooperation need to keep going on. So keeping the talk, walking the talk is very much important. So they need to keep cooperating, keep negotiating until this key points that I have raised so far be there. I think I have addressed the questions. If there are remaining questions, I will be back. Thank you very much, Dr. Kalistaga.
Thank you very much, Yusuf. Really, really very good response. And you did highlight the importance of building trust. Everything starts with trust. You cannot cooperate if you are mistrusting each other. So again, well said, but also trust based on concrete actions on the ground that are benefiting all the riparians. So thank you very much for that. We have another question in the chat by Taebwa James. How do we harmonize or operationalize the different legal regimes and competing diplomatic interests for an integrated water management system in the Nile Basin? Any of the panelists, any of the presenters able to shed some light? I don't know. Mr. Ali Elhaj, can you comment on that in relation to what you have talked about, water diplomacy? Again, give it your own perspective. Or any other presenter, anybody who would want to comment on this? Otherwise, we can also even get other people online also to comment on that. So we'll come back to that in a moment. We also had a question actually which we want all the panelists to reflect on. What needs to be done to have an all-inclusive cooperative legal framework in place? What needs to be done to have an all-inclusive cooperative legal framework in place? So again, presenters, you give it your own perspective from where you are and from what you have been working on. So can I invite Mr. Kizito Francis, if you can just give it your take.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you very much, Doctor, for this opportunity again to come back to the discussion. However, allow me to start from the question. There is a question that was raised by Mr. Wako on how the Institute is trying to leverage the regional universities to deliver capacity development. What we've done so far as the Water Resource Institute, already we've had two study tours and visits with a number of institutions within the region. First, last year we had the Water Resources Center of Excellency from Tanzania. They came to the Institute just for learning purposes and sharing experiences. Then this year again, around August, we had the Institute of Water Studies, University of Juba. They came to the Institute again from the 1st to the 4th of August. Again, we had a number of exchanges and already opportunities for collaboration with these different institutions are going on. Then again, for the local universities, already we are collaborating with Makerere University. There's a study we are carrying on university industry collaboration. It's not yet. The dissemination will come in later. Again, on the local universities, discussions are already initiated with the Chambogo University, Makerere Business School, Uganda Management Institute for collaboration and formal communication through a letter was done by the peers. When I come back to the question, Doctor, you've raised, For the institute, we believe that the best way we can handle that is to strengthen the issue of capacity building through, like I said, the capacity through exchange visits to the different universities, to the different institutions within the region. Then again, we believe that we need to really upscale the dialogue bit of it. Here we are looking at creating a neutral platform where all partner states can discuss and also try to brainstorm on how best we can manage the resource as the region. Then also we are thinking that maybe we could also try to see how best can we improve on knowledge sharing and also the exchange through activities such as the monthly webinars we are doing as the institute. We are thinking that maybe the region can take advantage of such opportunities, and they participate in such webinars. We believe this will try to see how we can improve on collaboration within the region. Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kizito Francis, for those perspectives. Indeed, we are stronger together. We need to go across board, not only just getting government institutions to collaborate, but also get academic institutions and other institutions within our countries to work together. And I think that's something we need to strengthen, and maybe through the Nile Basin Initiative, we can achieve that. Get universities within the basins collaborate, get different institutes, research institutes to collaborate, get the different government departments, private sector, civil society, to actually come forward and contribute. I think it will take us a great mile in achieving our objectives. Let me also pose the same question to Dr. Elias Tedra. What needs to be done to have an all-inclusive cooperative legal framework in place?
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Callist, on this important question, especially if we want to have all this transboundary water resource management. So in my perspective, that to have all this inclusive cooperative legal framework, we need at least 4 pillars or 4 important aspects. The first one is always institution. So this institution needs to be established based on an agreement or treaty, you can mention that, like the Intergovernmental Agreement on the Nile Basin Initiative or the commissions by the CFA, as my colleague mentioned before. So institution is very critical to have this inclusive cooperative legal framework. The second one is capacity development. So when we say this capacity development, that the organizational capacity, institutional capacity, and human capacity. So in terms of this organizational capacity, that well-structured organizations that address the challenges and the problems within the Nile region is very critical. The other is also institutional capacity on the soft and hard component of the institution, starting from the main headquarters or the infrastructures that we need to have within this institution is very critical. The other within the capacity development is the human capacity development that I present previously, and also universities, research centers need to capacitate the citizens of these regions in terms of having this inclusive cooperative legal framework. The third one is the investment. So in order to have such kind of very critical inclusive legal framework, we need to have investment plans in actual concrete investment on the ground. The fourth, not the last, is the information. So information is also very critical to establish this inclusive cooperative legal framework, which can information flow and exchange across countries, across institutions, and of course, across individuals which have the critical role in the transboundary water resource management. So this is very critical 4 pillars, what we want to have the inclusive cooperative legal framework. So back to you, Dr. Callist.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Elias. Again, the 4 pillars, very, very important. Oftentimes not given much attention, but very, very important in having an inclusive cooperative arrangement. Can I invite our next speaker, Mr. Ali Elhaj, your perspective on the question, what needs to be done to have an all-inclusive cooperative legal framework in place? Mr. Ali Elhaj, if you can unmute rather, so that we can get your perspectives. As he prepares, okay, yes, are you there, Mr. Ali? Otherwise, Mr. Yusuf, Mohammed Ali, you can come in now, give your perspective on what needs to be done to have an all-inclusive cooperative legal framework in place.
Thank you very much, Dr. Callist again. Well, I think I have already highlighted the most key points that need to be there to have all inclusive legal and institutional frameworks in one particular river basins, especially in the Nile River Basin. So especially the understanding that I have mentioned is very much important. Understanding that, you know, transboundary water courses need to be handled by all the riparian states is very much important. So if there are negative legal implications in a particular river basin, that need to be really settled. So when it comes to Nile River basins, we have colonial regimes. So this kind of colonial regimes are always an obstacle for future fruitful cooperation. So this need to be really tackled in a win-win way, so that all riparian states need to be able to use their shared water courses in their respective boundaries, and the trust need to be there. The basin-wide convention need to be there, but the most importantly, the permanent institution, just like our panelists say, there need to be permanent institutional framework. So having these key points on one hand, what need to be done is whatever the matter, cooperation need to always need to go on. So there need to be negotiations among key three riparians, probably on the ongoing disputed issues of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. But overall, when it comes to basin-wide issues, having a basin-wide convention is very much important. So this comes after fruitful cooperations and negotiations among all riparian states. So this need to keep going on, say, state to state, related ministerial offices among all riparian states, research institutions, I think that are working on this kind of water-related studies are very much important, but particularly, studies that are conducted on the Nile watercourse issues need to be pursued in a way that, it brings riparian states together, not apart. So there need to be studies that should be pursued, which brings riparian states more closer. I think this is very, very much important. I think that's all I can say, because it's already been said by my former speakers. So that's all I can say for my part. Thank you very much, Dr. Callist again.
Thank you very much, Yusuf, really, for those very, very interesting points. Again, you really highlight the importance of focusing on things that bring us together, see the benefits of cooperation rather than working on things that separate us. So very, very important, and also continuous engagement, bringing all the various stakeholders on the table to ensure that cooperation is actually moved forward. So thank you very much. I don't know whether Mr. Ali Elhaj, I really wanted you to speak to some of these issues. I don't know whether you're able to speak now. Mr. Elhaj, are you able to come in? I know you had previously some network challenges. In case you manage, we would want to hear from you. But as we continue, we have some questions in the chat. There is a question from Simon. It says, what are the ongoing efforts to fast track the establishment of the Nile Basin permanent institutions? I don't know whether any of the presenters is able to talk about it, but we have a big team on this call. Anybody can come in and respond, especially the team representing the Nile Basin Initiative and the countries. So that is there. But also we have some questions, again, that have been put up. I see some question from Mr. Dereje Gabriel Michael. He's saying how to promote joint transboundary water resources investments that can improve cooperation in the basin, Mr. Nile Basin. I don't know whether Dr. Elias, you are able to comment on that. But also there's another question on the importance of non-state actors and what needs to be done to improve their participation. Then there's another one, beyond engineering professionals, we need more economists, sociologists, historians, international relations, and international water law professionals for hydro diplomacy. So Dereje, thank you very much for those issues. So again, I would want to invite our speakers to comment on some of those issues that have been raised. Maybe you can start with you, Dr. Elias Tedra.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Carlos, to give some viewpoints on the points raised by Mr. Dereje that on how to promote joint transboundary water resource investment that improve cooperation in the Eastern Nile Basin. So as you know that the establishment of the Eastern Nile Technical Regional Office is one of the means to facilitate this transboundary water resource investment. So far, Intro was able to study many projects which can be implemented by countries and all the region as one investment project. For instance, the Ethio-Sudan transboundary trans-regional power sharing agreement and trade was studied at Intro through the establishment of this organization. So through this, there is a possibility to share the benefit of the Nile water resource, at the same time also to have the trust to be built based on the actual concrete investment that we can implement on the ground. I also agree that the non-state actors are very critical, especially in facilitating this water diplomacy, especially NGOs and civil societies, which are critical to reach to the ground on the people to interact and to get awareness on the common resource of the Nile, and also to create awareness on the common goal to develop the water resource of the Nile. So I agree also the same thing that beyond engineering professionals, always we say that water is at entry point, or not that specific one subject, but it's an entry point for all multidisciplinary issues. So that's why when we build different projects, we establish different aspects of these specializations or issues related with the water resource. So it's very critical also to consider economy, sociologists, and others, which are really critical on studying different aspects of the water resource related to development and management of the water. So back to you, Dr. Carlos.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Elias, for those good perspectives. Can I invite Mr. Francis Kizito, again, looking at the questions that have been put in the chat, the role of non-state actors, but also involvement of the other professionals beyond the water engineers. So any observation, any perspectives from the Water Resources Institute, Francis?
Thank you very much, Dr. Calist, for this opportunity to come back and say something about the questions. Yeah, I agree with that we need to get other professionals to participate in to get opportunities like economists, sociologists to participate and also get opportunities to work in or to operate in some areas. What I can say, we have an internship program, only that I did not get enough time to say much about, to give details about it. This internship program that I talked about with UNHCR, at first we are looking at public health officers and also engineers. However, during one of the discussions, it was aired out well that we need to also think outside the box, whereby we need to involve hydrogeologists, geologists, such that if you look at water resources, we not only look at engineers, not only look at if it is sanitation, we not look at only public health, but again, we need all professionals to participate in all, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Francis, for that. Yes, I think from what both of you have highlighted, the importance of going beyond just the hardcore sciences, water management, transboundary water management, transboundary water cooperation requires all the different professionals, and that's why we need to open up space and work with the others. You need science, you need the soft part, the social science, you need the lawyers, the economists, you need everybody. And I think that's why reopening up space becomes very, very important. Can I now invite, I don't know whether, I really would want to hear from Mr. Ali Elhaj. I don't know whether the network allows. Ali, are you able? No, maybe let's go back to you. Yusuf, on those issues that have been highlighted, the role of non-state actors, other professionals, and also how to promote the investments, transboundary water investments on the ground. Over to you, Yusuf.
Thank you very much, Dr. Calist again. Well, for obvious reasons, the lasting solution is to have a state a proactive role in a transboundary water course management. So that's undeniable. But I think it's very much important to follow also holistic approach. Just it's crucial. The state's involvement, cooperation on state level is very much important. That's underlined. But following a holistic approach, engaging all those non-state actors, especially research institutes, are very much important. You know, sometimes the cooperation got into in some kind of deadlocks. You know, compromisation is very much difficult. It's not easy, as we have seen it in the Nile River Basin. So when it comes to non-state actors, I think you know, the communication is kind of flexible, and the language and the integration is much easier. So this flexibility and integrations help, I think, even the state actors to go on the cooperation. So the engagement of the non-state actors, especially the research institutes, and also especially initiatives like Nile Basin Initiative, you know, as an institution, as a regional institution, plays a key role in this regard. So their engagement is very, very crucial. So that needs to be underscored. But other than that, like I've said, you know, when we say holistic approach, we don't have to always focus on the legal perspectives. We have to also go on and see the environmental perspective, as I think other panelists in another research forum have already indicated. So there has to be an engagement from historical perspective. I think there has already been studies that are have already been conducted, that are being underway as well from historical perspective, and also from, I think, economical perspective, the advantage of using the Nile River basins, by all riparian states have its own economic advantage by bringing all riparian states, by employing some kind of water trade, especially. So it's very much important to follow all approaches. Sociological aspects are very much important as well. So for pursuing holistic approach is very, very much important. Given their flexibility and also their integration, I think non-state actors plays a very huge role in this regard. Thank you very much. Dr.
Thank you very much, Yusuf, for again those brilliant responses and perspectives. Holistic approach involving everybody, and this is the spirit of the Sustainable Development Goals. We shouldn't leave anybody behind. We'll be able to achieve sustainability. We'll ensure that we benefit from transboundary water cooperation. If we have everybody on board, we are stronger together. Very, very important. I heard there was some question regarding ongoing efforts to fast-track the establishment of the Nile Basin Permanent Institution. I don't know the team from NILSEC, whether any of you would want to comment on that, but you are not under obligation to comment if you find that it's not appropriate. So, but feel free if you want to comment. Otherwise, we are bringing this session towards the end. Tom, do you want to comment on it, or any of your colleagues? Or Dr. Mudassir, any of you? Just go ahead, Tom.
Just clarify that that process is led by the countries. The Secretariat does only the facilitative role when called upon, but the track of the CFA is led by the countries. That has been the approach the countries have decided, the governance has decided.
Okay. Dr. Mudassir, any addition from your side, or you go with Tom's response?
Yes, I go with Tom's response. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Callis.
Okay, fine then. And this is part of the discussions that are going on now. I'm sure by the end of the Nile Basin Development Forum, we will get some official statements from the country delegates. Right now, the countries are already discussing these issues. And let's keep our ears on the ground. We'll be able to get updates on how far the countries have gone and how we are going to finalize the cooperative framework agreement and move the Nile River Basin Commission into operation. Before we bring this session to an end, I would like to give 1 minute or maximum 2 to our speakers. Any final remarks from you on the topic for discussion today? We have been talking about transboundary water governance, legal and institutional frameworks for transboundary water governance. We have listened to each other. You have listened to the participants online. Any final remarks as we end this webinar in terms of what you have learned, but anything that you feel you would want to share, anything that you probably missed out? Let's start with Yusuf.
Thank you very much, Dr. Callis. Well, my first gratitude goes to you first, Dr. Callis, for organizing and chairing, of course, this wonderful webinar in a very productive and successful way. And also my regards goes to the Nile Basin initiatives for organizing such a wonderful Nile Basin forum and bringing such a wonderful scholars, researchers from different part of sectors, states, research institutes, and I'm so grateful in this regard. And I am my final remark would be, sometimes it's very much important to focus on a very particular river basins to sort out the issues, what need to be settled and related matters in a very cooperative and productive manners. But it's also important to move on across a particular river basins and see how things are there in another water course management. So, such kind of cooperative comparison is very much important, even to quickly, come to a solution and pursue what others have already done in a very successful way. So you don't have to like start everything from zero. So once some other, exemplary experiences are there in another river basins, I think it's very much important to bring articulate and also integrated in one's particular experience. So in this regard, I think the presentation that I have made today was helpful and is helpful in this regard, and it will be published, by the way, in the near future on Springer as a book chapter, and it will be accessible to access and read in a very wide manner. Hopefully I will get some feedbacks from this wonderful scholars. We'll be expecting and looking forward from you wonderful remarks. So that's all I can say, I think. Thank you very much again, and back to you, Dr. Callist.
Thank you very much, Yusuf. Again, really great learning from what you have presented. And I think the importance of learning from each other, getting the lessons to run across board, learn from those that have solved some of the challenges we are faced with, very, very important, but also as individuals. And I think the sharing that has been done on this webinar should actually enable each one of us to pick some lessons and apply them in our day-to-day work. So thank you very much. Let me invite Dr. Elias Tedra for your final remarks.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Scars. So first I want to thank for the organizers, my colleagues at NILSEC, for organizing this very critical and important forum and specific to the topic that we discussed today. And also for the moderator, Dr. Karst, for your excellent moderation. I would like to thank, and also colleagues who present today their papers and share their experiences. I want to also thank you for the participants who really attend today and actively engage and asking questions and involving the discussions. So finally, I want to say that let us work together towards the achievement of sharing the benefit of the Nile resource and bring peace to the region and also in general for Africa. So I want to thank you all for organizing this important deliberation. Thank you, Dr. Carlos.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Elias, again for those final remarks. Indeed, a lot has gone into this and we have benefited from the exchanges. Mr. Francis Kizito, your final remarks.
Thank you very much, Moderator Dr. Kallis. First of all, I want to thank the Nile Basin Initiative for giving us this opportunity to share information and knowledge with the different participants. I want also to thank the moderator. You've made the discussion very interesting and very informative. My fellow panelists, thank you so much. Thank you so much for saving time and putting together the information you've shared with us. It was very, very insightful. Then also I want to thank the participants for saving time and participate during this session. There are two issues that I want to, they are more like my take home. For the partner states, they need to holistically work together through collaborations, and also there is also need to strengthen capacity development through sharing experiences and knowledge, and using a number of channels and also platforms. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much again. Unfortunately, We have missed getting the final words from Mr. Ali Elhaj, but he did make a very good presentation on water diplomacy and cooperation in Eastern Nile. So we thank him very much, but we haven't had an opportunity to get his final remarks. On this note, I really would like to thank the team and the Nile Basin Initiative Secretariat that have worked tirelessly to organize this event. In particular, this session has been under the care of Mr. Tom Wako. Tom Wako, thank you very much. You, Mr. Patrick Rutaguera, Dr. Mudassir Zarogo, Dr. Nicholas Aza, and the rest of the team, thank you very much for making this session quite interesting and successful, and for mobilizing all of us to be part of this. I want to thank all of you, ladies and gentlemen, that have spared time to be part of this session. From me, it has really been a big opportunity to learn. The four presenters have shared different perspectives, but all have strengthened our understanding, our resolve to promote transboundary cooperation. We need to build capacity, we need water diplomacy, but also we need an enabling legal and institutional framework to make sure that this happens. I want to thank all of you. You have been a very good audience and I've enjoyed moderating this session. Thank you very much, and we continue the discussions. We have another webinar starting at 2 p.m., so look out for it as we continue towards the actual event next week of the Nile Basin Environment Forum. Thank you very much, and I wish you a nice day.
Thank you, Dr. Kalisi, for the excellent moderation. We really benefited. We thank everybody for the participation, and I will now call upon Dr. Mudassir on behalf of the Secretariat to give the final remark.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tom. Allow me to thank first Dr. Kalist for the excellent and outstanding moderation for this important session about the legal and institutional frameworks for transboundary water governance. Dr. Kalist has supported this 7th Nile Basin Development Forum in different sessions. So he moderated different sessions, and he participated, and also he presented also in different sessions. We appreciate very much this great effort, Dr. Kalist, for this important session. Allow me also to thank all the panelists and presenters for their informative also and excellent presentations. I would like to thank also our team behind the scene. Mr. Tom, you did a lot of work behind the scene to make this session successful. I would like to thank also our consultants, Dr. Aza and Mr. Sued, for their great support. I would like to thank also Patrick, our IT officer, and also Marushka for their support also behind the scene. And finally, I would like to thank also all the participants for their active participations and the excellent questions. And finally, allow me to invite also all the participants for the coming session at 2 p.m., exactly at 2 p.m. East African time. And the title of the coming session is the role of the non-state actors in promoting transboundary water cooperation. So we will have this session at 2 p.m. exactly. Please come and join also this important and interesting session. Thank you all. Thank you very much. And the session is closed. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks to everybody.
Thank you very much, everyone. Good day.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.